Hey YouTubers, he's back, and it's obviously a pickup video. A little update on the last video. A lot of people have sent some kind words regarding my my wife. We've been in and out of hospital with loads of tests. She's been scanned so many times. The prognosis is looking a bit better. All going well, subject to another result from a biopsy. She may be able to avoid having chemo and just have surgery on the breasts, so that'd be a lot less invasive than actually going through 6 months of chemo treatment. So hopefully, touch wood, that'll be a bit easier for her, and hopefully that will sort it out. Touch wood, fingers and toes crossed. So that's some great news. But thanks again for all the kind words people have been saying. That's really appreciated. She's been going through a tough time, my old girl has, and sadly her father's, who's been in hospital for about 5 weeks, his dementia's getting worse and worse, and he's losing weight and mobility, and he's probably only got a few days or weeks left really. So tough times ahead there will be, but you know, together we'll get by, won't we? Won't we, Benny? Excuse the cat. On to the pickups. I don't want to get this too sentimental. Actually, there's a little funny story regarding my wife, actually. I think we always had to have a bit of humour, even when things are tough. My wife's breast surgeon is called Mr. Chicken. No joke, Mr. Chicken. He's a nice Dutchman. And I was thinking, well, he's probably used to dealing with fillets with a name like Chicken. Terrible joke, I know, I'm awful. But my wife said, well, if I'm losing bits, it's only fair you lose something. And I said, well, I'll agree to that, as long as but you have to find a surgeon with a matching name. So she's looking for a surgeon called Mr. Balls. But anyway, enough jokes. You've got to laugh or cry in this world, haven't you, really? And with things like this, it sort of makes you want to, you know, live for a moment more than anything else, really. Other things, other news. Okay, Vine of the week. Shall we go on to pickups and stuff? I think so. Why not? Vine of the week. I have here a classic, a new, I don't know, it's probably been out for a year or two. Yeah, since 2021. It's a compilation of unusual songs by the main artists of the Britpop 90s. So you've got all the main people here. You've obviously got all the indie bands: Blur, Suede, Elastica, Oasis and stuff, Lightning Siege, Pulp, Primal Scream, Radiohead, Supergrass, Charlatans, Blue Tones, Paul Weller, Portishead, all sorts of alternative tracks on here. And this is a combination done by this artist who done a lot of I don't know, professional photos of the rising stars in the 90s, and so he done that. You got to write the music to accompany his art, and his art was his photos, I should say. Photos, arts. It was professional. It's the same sort of thing. They're all in his book with a little bit of description of context for when the photos were taken. So it's if you know, if like me, you're in your mid to late 20s in the 90s, for me that was the best decade for music and all sorts of things. So many great things happened. I was at uni, did my first job, which was shit, but apart from that, it started my social work career, so it ended up being a very good decade in the end. The 90s did, even though it wasn't all fun and games like it never is really. But anyway, the 90s, so I got that book as well as having it's a nice double album set. I thought I'd get the CD set because this has got 4 discs, so it's got even more music on, and it's got some additional photos and stuff inside it, really. So I'm a bit mad on that. One other vinyl I got, which was to accompany a DVD. If I show you a DVD, it's actually a Blu-ray set, actually. Got it in CX, only 18 quid. and it is the our edition of RoboCop. Now this edition is very, very nice. If, like me, you saw RoboCop in the early 90s, you would have been amazed, because there was nothing like it. It was so different and unique. It was gory, it was exciting, it was fun. It was really, it's a really nice poster inside. Nice little sort of velvety type book, really. There is a book about the making of a movie, quite an intense one, not just a few photos. I really put together a really nice book about the production. And inside the Blu-ray, which is a ultimate version of it, it's got disc 1 director's cut, disc 2 theatrical cut, and tons of extras. There are some postcards too. So in my mind, this is the ultimate edition of RoboCop. And so ironically, I bought the standard edition only about, I don't know, about 5 weeks ago. Watched it with my daughter because I wanted her to see it, because she's 15. I wanted her to experience some classic movies. And then she was quite shocked by how graphic it was as well, really, but she thought it was good. But as I got, then literally 2 weeks after after that, I saw that this edition in CX for 18 quid, and I thought I've got to get that for upgrade. So that got me looking for something else I've been wanting to get, which is a soundtrack. Now, a soundtrack is not easy to get. You can get soundtrack for RoboCop 2 easier, but for the first one, it's a bit more tricky. And there was this special edition released exclusively in the States for Barnes and Noble, and it's like a 2 titanium coloured vinyl album soundtrack. And I got this from a seller who actually only lived about 8 miles from where I live, so I was able to collect it. And so I think this cost me, I think it's between £40 and £50 in the end, because I got the shipping refunded back because I collected it myself. But it's unopened, it's new. So I will be opening it and listening to a classic soundtrack, because the RoboCop main theme is stupendous, isn't it? It's just so cool. You know, it's one of those classic themes that, you know, if you love the 90s, you have to have, really. So, you know, is it 1990 or was it 89 this came out in, thinking about it now? I can't remember now. I could be wrong. It could be 1989 or something the movie came out. It may have been around that time, 89 or 87, so it may not actually be in the 90s, it may be more late 80s, but still, that era, you know, 80s and 90s, is still a fantastic album to own. So that's all the vinyl done. While we're on movies, there's a few other classic bits I saw on CX which I thought I'd pick up. These are quite cheap. These are like the VHS editions of E.T. and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I think they're about £6 each or something like that. In them you get the movie, and I think, you know, it comes in like a VHS replica type box, and in some cases I think you get a poster and some art cards and 2 discs or whatever it is, Blu-ray and DVD. So Blu-ray and DVD double sets, really, these are. So there's quite a few out there, but I just went for the main movies I wanted, which are obviously E.T. and also Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So got my daughter to watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It has aged a bit, hasn't it, guys? I mean, we loved it in the time, but looking back at it now, it is it's okay, but it's definitely a product of its time, and it has aged. Okie dokie. Other things, other movies. Mario Brothers movie's out on cinema. Have we seen it? No, I haven't. Will I see it? Yes, I will. But I'll probably wait until I get it cheap on Blu-ray or see it on Disney Plus or whatever channel it ends up coming on. But in CX, I saw on Blu-ray, quite cheap. Yes, Super Mario Brothers, the original movie on Blu-ray. Got a feeling I got this on DVD, but it was cheap as chips on Blu-ray. Well, that's a terrible movie, but still, I thought I might as well get it, and when I'm feeling bored, just watch it out of curiosity's sake. Because I'm not seen it, and I know it's a terrible movie. Everyone says it is, but even with terrible movies, I like to see it myself, and at least I know, yeah, that was a terrible movie. Something else that is not terrible but bloody good. I actually saw this on my brother. His wife's from Taiwan and fluent in Chinese, and so she's able to go on the Chinese websites and download a lot of TV programs which are exclusively streaming on certain websites which you have to pay for, and I pay for a lot really, but I'm not paying for a Paramount Plus. So I wasn't going to pay for this, but then not that long ago it came out on Blu-ray. But anyway, I have seen this recently, and my daughter and wife and I really enjoyed it. It's for Halo Season 1. Really good. The take on it, they're taking like an alternative timeline to the actual games. So it's not, it's not in the exact same world as the games. It's slightly different, it is. But it loosely follows the events of the games, loosely. But there's new characters and bits and bobs in it as well to try and make it unique. But it's got all the classic weapons and stuff. And even though at the beginning, well, I guess there's probably a bit too much footage of Master Chief without his helmet on, because he used to Master Chief, but I guess it's just getting to know the actor. But by the end, they make up for it, because at the last episode, they kind of made it almost a bit like they did in the Dune movie, whereby it's like you sort of take the first-person perspective of Master Chief when fighting some of the Covenant, and it's pretty cool, if I may say so. But it's it's a really good TV series overall. I will get it on Blu-ray and DVD when it's cheaper, but I thought I'd get this limited edition Steelbox 4K version from Amazon. I think it's about £40 while it's reasonably while it's still available, and I'm not going to bother opening it. Like I said, I've already seen it. I'll just wait until I get the cheaper editions if I want to watch it again. But I do have the video files anyway to watch it on my probably PS5 or PS4 or whatever. Okay, one other movie. Oh, well, actually, there's a few more movies yet. Sorry, it's not all movies, trust me, but these are a lot of retro-inspired ones, all game-related. Another retro movie is on DVD. Doc Savage, The Man of Bronze. It's got the actor who was like Tarzan in the 70s. Ron Eli. That's Clark Doc Savage Jr. This is a film that if you saw it as a kid, you probably would think, bloody hell, that's good. And then you never see it again, because they don't show it very often. I think they're probably only broadcasters on mainstream TV twice ever. But it's one of those movies that you think, actually, this is really quite good. It's quite interesting. Lots of interesting characters. Not bad special effects. But it's a good action adventure romp movie. So, Doc Savage. This is on one of those Australian DVD releases whereby I think it's slightly homebrewed, I suspect. I don't think, you can't get a proper bona fide release, I would say. It wasn't too much though. I think it was about £12 from eBay. But Doc Savage, that will do me, because it's such a difficult movie to see these days. Other gaming related bits. I've got the white controller. My daughter's claimed that, so I got myself another black 8-bit Ultimate Bluetooth controller. You can use this for a Switch as well as PC and other USB type devices. Really good controller. It come down in price. It was only £40 in Amazon, so I got it. Another retro inspired toy, which I had in the 80s. Anyone recognise this little handheld little Space Invaders shoot 'em up? It's by Tommy Games. It was like this. I used to do little tiny little pocket money games whereby they had lots of themes. There's lots of ones. I think there was like a tank battle one. There was like a miniature cricket set and a little miniature golf type one you can create. They're all not all shooting type things. They're all quite creative little games in little boxes and stuff. but all fit into like a tape cassette size, and all pocket money prices. Palatoy had the license for these for a while, and then I think they got taken over by Tomy. But I had quite a few of these when I was a kid growing up, and I saw this one, and I remember this one. And I thought if I'm going to get one back in my possession, I might as well get one that's gaming related. So that's loosely based on a kind of Space Invaders type thing. So yeah, why not? I think it was about £8. So a bit of nostalgia. So I had this back in my possession. Okay, alright. Two other set of Blu-rays they had in CX. Shall I show them together? Anyone? Yes, Gamera. Everyone has heard of Godzilla and King Kong, but there's a few other latex-based monsters in Japan, and there was Gamera, and so surprisingly, there's quite a lot of movies made in the 60s, 70s, and well, most decades actually, right up to present really. This series has got a few movies, but they've got more modern movies on it, and this one's got all the older movies. So this will be mega cheese, and this will be a bit more interesting. But I got a nice DVD box sets for Godzilla's, which are Australian exclusive, which has about 90% of the movies, and that's bloody good. I enjoyed that, even though a lot of the movies are quite cheesy and bad. But cheesy and bad, I would say no. I'll take that back. They're good in the bad sense. I don't know. I'm contradicting myself now, aren't I? If you know what I mean, it's a bit of fun. So something to watch on a Sunday morning. It's an alternative to me watching my Doctor Who episodes. So I thought, yeah, I'll get these as well. These were reasonably quite priced in CX. I think they worked out about £50 or two together, which is much cheaper than buying them separate. There was a multi-box set of these combined as well, which is more closer to 100. But I thought I'd just get these sets, which will do me fine. Again, they're Arrow releases, so you know they're going to be well put together. Alright, I'm getting on games. Trust me, guys. Your patience will be paid off. There is I wanted a I was thinking about this the other day, and I just thought, oh yeah, I remember having that, and I wonder if it's I wonder if I can get one quite cheaply. And I was able to get old new stock of this item. It is a personal cassette player, a sharp one that I had, which I bought especially when I went travelling around America when I was at 20, and I wanted a cheap cassette player, just that only used up 1 or 2 batteries. That if I lost it and it got stolen, it wouldn't be such the end of the world. Because I had a better cassette player, like a Sony Walkman one, but I didn't want to take that with me travelling. So I just wanted a cheap one, because obviously in the about 93, that's when I bought this. That's what everyone had. They listened to cassette players and everything. So I won't go and take my CD collection or anything. You had cheap cassettes. So that's what I did when I went travelling around America. And so I listened to this a lot. My original one. Lost original. But this is old new stock. The box is slightly battered, but it's all brand new inside and sealed. So I've just kept it all sealed. Nice. It wasn't a bad machine actually, a sharp one. I'm not saying this is the best video cassette player out there. It's not. It was one that was cheap at a time. That wasn't rubbish, and it's something that's got a lot of memories for. So I thought, as a bit of nostalgia for me personally, and with a bit of a story, I'll get it back in my possession. Okay, that's all the retro bits. It's all games now, guys. So you'll be breathing a sigh of relief. I'm going to start with games which are slightly newer, and then sort of go back in time, get to older things, saving the older stuff for last. on the Xbox Series 1, House of the Dead remake. I do actually have this on the PS4, which I played on the PS5 using the PS5 camera and the gun bit thing, which it works sort of. It's not perfect like a perfect light gun, but it's doable. It's not bad. It plays. And we enjoyed it. Still difficult, but I enjoyed it. So I recommend doing that as a setup if you want that. But I thought I'm getting it for every console. I love House of Dead, so I have to. Raiden 4, the Mikado remix on the Xbox One. Keep that new and sealed. Again, I'm sort of multi-dipping on that on the right. Raiden. Is it Raiden or Raiden? I think it's probably pronounced Raiden if you follow the same rule that Stu to the UK uses for Taito. You know, Taito. So if it amounts to AI as Tai as opposed to Tay, then Raiden will be Raiden as opposed to Raiden, I assume. And there's different rules. So I'm going to call him Raiden if I can remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, Evil Dead, Xbox One. I've also got this on the PS5 somewhere, but I'll show that another pickup. Played it. There's a way of playing a bit of it with offline with PC controlled other characters and enemies. It's probably more limited. It's a bit open world. You have to be in the right mood for it. I think if you like Dead by Daylight, you'll probably give this a go. It's sort of similar vein, I suppose. If you like the Evil Dead movies, there's so many good references to it, and obviously it's got Bruce Campbell doing the voices and stuff, or the main voice and everything else really. And it's got all the characters. So yeah. If you like Evil Dead, make sure you watch the Evil Dead TV series. You know, one with Bruce Campbell that he did recently. I say recently, in the last few years. It's fantastic. Don't miss out on that, guys. Okay. All right. Other pickups. Okay. Sticking with Xbox. I got this on a sort of a newer version of this on the PS3 and PS4, and it's Claudius. This is like a collector's edition, which comes, I believe, with an art book or something. So I've got another one for my Xbox 360 Japanese shooting collection. What did I pay for this? I can't remember. No, I really can't remember. It wasn't stupid money. Okay, from Pixel Heart Games, I pre-ordered this years ago, and it finally came. It's the Dreamcast edition of Andro Dunis and Andros Dunis 2. I've got the newer games, the newer ports of this to play, so I'm going to probably keep these sealed for my Dreamcast collection, because these are games. Yeah, I think once they're sold out, I think they will be silly money at some point, those games, even though you can play them on other consoles. Okie dokie. I've got a few PS3 games actually, ones that were recommended I saw online. James, Retro Import Gamer, recommended these. I got this, like he said, you can get them cheap as chips, and he's right, you can. So we've got here Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme Versus and Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme Versus Full Boost. I think there's a Full Boost one that is the best out of the two. I don't think you have to have this one as well, but they're both extremely cheap, so I thought I'd just get both of those for my PS3 import collection. So I think pretty much finished with PS3, especially after this one. I showed the Dragon Age 1 special collector's edition that has another disc with all the DLC on. There's also this version that has the DLC on the disc, which is a BioWare signature edition of Dragon Age 2. So again, I got this while it's reasonably quite cheap, under a tenner off eBay. Okay, on the PS2, I got this from the States. I think this is about £35–40 with shipping. It is the PS2 box set for the Final Fantasy XI Online. So this box set's got a steel book, an art book and stuff. No, it's not a steel book too. Like it's just a standard PS2 box, but it's got an art book and a few other bits and bobs in it. it's just for the PS2 collection on the import side. It's obviously not playable anymore, so it's more just there for the physical collection, really. Okay, a couple of games I saw. Now before I go into that, in the next pickup, I'm going to show you something else that's related to this. It's part of the same series of games, but I wanted to get the first one, and I got this on the NES cart only from the States. The cart only wasn't too expensive. I think it was about 25 or £20, and I put it in a nice reproduction box with sleeve. To get this box complete, it would have been very expensive. Closer to, I think it's probably about £100 mark. I didn't want to pay that much for it, so I just got the cart and the reproduction box of Star Soldier. Some really great games. This is what started it all off with. But yeah, I'm really happy with that on the NES. And when I was in CEX a little while ago, in really minty condition for 30 quid, I picked up Rambo 3 on the Mega Drive. James Inc. Retro Import Gamer showed that off the Rambo on the PS3 game he picked up the other day, which I also got, which is a beautiful looking game but broken in the sense that it's just so bloody difficult you can't get past the first stage. So what's the point of enjoying the rest of the game if you can't get past the first bloody stage? I don't think anyone could really without somehow, I don't know, hacking the system. Hacking the game if that's possible. But anyway, we digress a little bit. But this is a much better Rambo game. Rambo 3 on a Mega Drive, a bit like Mercs. Really good off Rambo type game. Okay, now guys, we're moving on to the last system, and it is the Saturn. By the way, a lot of this stuff I've been showing you is stuff I've been picking up. I've picked up over the past not just 4 weeks, probably about 6 weeks on and off. But I've sort of grouped them together. Okay, so on the Saturn, what have I got? I've been thinking about getting this game for a while, and I thought I've bit of a bullet and got it all complete in a reasonably good condition. Got a nice box protector, and it's a horror game for the Saturn, exclusive for the Saturn, called Enemy Zero. It's one of a trilogy of games done by a guy called what's his name? It's a Japanese guy, but I can't remember what he's called. But they all got the same principal character. Who's it called? Is it Laura? Yeah. The games don't follow each other in any way, but they all have a blonde person called Laura. So the guy who made this game has got something about law, I suppose. Western girls called Laura who are blonde, I don't know. But anyway, it's a horror movie set in the future. Enemy Zero. It's supposed to be extremely good, so I picked this up. I got this for a fair price actually. I think it was about £60 to £70 mark. I've got a nice box protector for it. And having got that, I thought, oh, should I get the other two the games that the director did? And I thought, sorry, I will. So I got the first one, D, on the Saturn. Another classic horror game set in the future, in the sci-fi type future, and this is set in a contemporary present. This sent me back about 50 quid in the end, I think. So I've got that all complete. Again, not an easy game to get hold of really, so it's all complete. There's another one called D2, which is like the American and Japanese exclusive, and that's really expensive. So it's going to be a while before I get that one. But I will one day. Okay. When I was in CX getting that Mega Drive game, they also had this Saturn game, which I wasn't particularly looking out for, but they had it. It was all complete in good condition. It was only 16 quid. So I thought, why not? It's a spaceship shooter, dark light conflict. It's a 3D type shooter type thing, really. the reviews are actually okay on this, so it wasn't one I was desperate to get, but for 16 quid I thought I might as well add it to a collection really. Okay. Even though finding space for the Saturn games is getting more difficult. Okay, Japanese Saturn. I got these games just to complete the Bikini Fighters set for the Saturn. So I've got a Bikini Fighters 96 and Bikini Fighters 97. I just went for standard disc versions. I didn't go ones with the multi-RAM carts as well, because they're not, obviously not. They aren't hugely more expensive ones with RAM cart, but sometimes it's just fun, you know, making most of the space, and I don't need the RAM carts for these particular two. So I just got the standard disc versions. Alright, the next 3 games are big hitters, and I got these of other tubers. First of all, I have to thank you very much, Eddie Rollercore. As most people in the community knows, Eddie's been saving up for a house, and he's downsized a hell of a lot of his collection. I think he's focusing more on PC Engine and PS4 and his arcades, and saving up for a house, which is good on him, mate. I don't blame you really. It's, you know, paying so much money on rent these days, it's not good really. So to actually get to get on a housing ladder is probably best for him. So he's been downsizing a hell of a lot of his collection, and there was one game he had left on the Saturn which I've heard of, and it's got quite a reputation, and even though I wasn't desperate to get a copy of it, he had it. He offered to me for a very fair price. It's not cheap, but it was a fair price. It's not a cheap game. It's a very fair price. And thanks again, Eddie, for this. He sent me some freebies as well. He sent me one import Dreamcast and import PS1 game, which is really nice. I'll probably show this sometime. So he gave me some real freebies. So he's a great person to get games off. Eddie, he really does look after you. But anyway, the game he got that he got me that we traded was a game called Puli Ruler. It is kind of a cutie type Beats of Rage. No, not well. You go along a bit like Beats of Rage, whereby it's that kind of plain beating up characters and so forth, and you have a little, but it's very much more of a cute 'em up stroke, beat 'em up stroke adventure type game, whatever you call that genre. It's got some new, some really weird antagonists, sort of slightly rude and smutty ones, and there's a famous scene which will, if you look on YouTube for this game, it will show it quite easily, whereby you go along and you go past, and you see these 2 massive legs of a woman, all spread out, so to speak. What's it called? Next akimbo, or whatever they call it. And in the gap is like a gate where private bits would be, and I think it's a pink elephant or something comes out of it. I can't remember. Yeah, it's a bit risque to say the least, but it's supposed to be a solid game as well. And so I thought, for the Saturn collection, it's by X-Scene Entertainment, so they usually do solid games. I thought I'll pick this up, and so I have. So thanks again, Eddie, and thanks again for those freebies. So, you know, you're a star, mate. Okay, another tuber, Zombie Scott, Sega Zombie. Scott, as you know, he's got Retro Realm, his store. He's been showing a few pickup videos and store videos, and I noticed in the background of one of his pickups was on the shelf, he had a few Saturn games, and there was this Saturn Shooter which I've got on my want list. I've got a few reproduction expensive shooting games on the Saturn, and some of my more favourite ones I'm upgrading from the reproduction disc to original disc, but I'm just doing it gradually and slowly because a lot of them aren't cheap. And so this was on the list, and Scott did did a really good solid deal for it as well. So, and it came in great condition, all complete with a bonus disc and everything. And it's a Psycho game, Sengoku Blade, or so it was known as, is it Taken, or is it Taken, something like that. It's also part of, I think the sequel says it Samurai Aces as well. But anyway, Sengoku Blade, it's a good, I guess they call it a side shooter. You play like these flying characters, and yeah, it's a solid game, really good. If you like your Psycho games, you'll obviously know this game, and it's really nice to have original on the Saturn. Okay, is that it? Just about. I've saved the best, and that's no that's not just imply that any of the other games aren't good. They are, but I've saved the last pickup to obviously last. This game I got about 4 weeks ago, and I had played it on my modded Saturn. I do have a reproduction disc of this as well, but I never got around to playing it actually. And it's got a favorite, it's got a very good reputation as being a good game that's very, very expensive. And so having got my modded Saturn, I thought, you know what, I'll give it a play. And once I got used to the controls, I got hooked. You can adjust the settings so it's not too difficult. There's loads of credits, so you can get really far into the game before you have like permadeath type thing. Well, not permadeath, you die. Yeah, it's really good. For me, the art style is very much inspired by Castlevania. The monsters, you can see where Resident Evil get the inspiration for some of their bosses and stuff. One of them reminded me a bit like a Nemesis type thing. So basically, I would say if Castlevania, Shinobi, and Resident Evil had a baby of sorts and produced the game, this is kind of what it would be. It is the most expensive game I ever bought, and at the time on eBay, it was maddening how expensive it was. I saw one that somebody was saying at a really good price, and they was doing a buy now or best offer price on that. So I put in a cheeky bid, which worked out about half the price of the cheapest copy of the game on the internet, and I won it. And I thought, shit, now I've got to pay for it. Fortunately, now we know with PayPal you can do you can split payments over three payments. So I'll pay a third straight up and then the other two over 2 months. So that's what I'm doing on this one. It is stupidly expensive. It's the most expensive game I ever bought. I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for it. You can check on eBay how much these games go for. It is stupidly expensive, but it's one of those stupidly expensive games whereby if I don't get it now, it will only get more stupidly expensive in the future, and I'll probably regret it. So I thought I've got an opportunity of getting this now and having it in the collection, and it is a good game. It really is a good game. The graphics are superb. The art style is fantastic. God knows why it didn't get a Western release. Maybe because it's like a, even though it's got power scrolling in the background, it's probably a bit, too much 2D inspired or whatever else. But it is the game which, if you know your Saturn Japanese, you'll know this. Shinrei Jisatsu Tamoro. All complete. The cover is slightly sun-faded, and that's maybe why it was probably about 25% off the price compared to the other copies on eBay. But I wasn't that worried about it. As long as it was complete, I'm happy for that. And I was able to knock another £100 off that price as well, through the best offer type price. So yeah, it is stupidly expensive, but it is bloody good. I don't think you can see the pictures of this sort of game, but just go on the internet, guys. I don't know if you can see what it's called in the title there. Like I said, Shinrei Jusatsu Tamuro. Do check it out. It's one of the rarest Saturn games, and I think it's because it's a bloody good game. It had a limited print run towards the end of a Saturn life, but it's really worth having that. GameSat done a video of it. Once you get used to the controls and how you operate the controls, you go along and it's so it's really addictive. It's fair. Any mistakes are your own, and it's like a side platforming adventure, beat 'em up, shooting game whereby your powers are like magic spells that are like a shooting arrangement, so you can shoot the baddies around you and all sorts. And the art style of the baddies, like I said, it's so inspired by Castlevania and Shinobi and Resident Evil type thing. I was just, it was getting better and better as I got further into the game. I thought this is good at the beginning, and I think this is bloody good. And I thought, shit, can I actually get a real copy of this game as opposed to just having a repro or a ROM on my Saturn? And I thought, I don't know. So I put in a cheeky bid and I won it, and I thought, shit, now I've got to pay that money because it's not cheap. But it's still cheaper than it would, and then the other ones on the system. And I think once this game will stay expensive and always will be. And if I don't get it now, I will never will do, because I will never pay over £1,000 for a game. I'll never pay that much for a game, and but this was still bloody expensive. So yeah, I kind of gave him the clue. The other games, the other copies are about £1,200. I just got it out. Okay, this is much less than that, but still, it was expensive. Anyway, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure, really, wasn't it? I think Eddie picked up Magical Chase, didn't he? He probably had a guilty pleasure as well, really. What the hell? You're only here once, aren't you? Might as well make the most of it, really. And if you've got means to pick up a really expensive game, that's good, and you want it in your collection, then great. I can always look at it as an investment. If I wanted to sell it tomorrow, I'll get my money back easily. So so there's that. Always that. I've not lost money on it, even though being a hoarder I am. I probably won't sell it, but you know what I mean. It's there. It's like an investment, a savings account for my daughter. So she can put it towards something when I'm gone, which hopefully won't be for a long while. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's all my pickups for the past 5 weeks. Some solid games, I'm sure you agree. I hope you're all doing well out there, and thanks for watching. Do leave comments or whatever else. Take care all. Oh, one other thing. Have you noticed on YouTube things are going a bit strange with the algorithms? I'm not really bothered about it, but I've noticed a few new channels whereby they may only have like I don't know, 100 subs or whatever. Then somehow they get 1,500 or 2,000 views. What's going on there? I mean, it's like YouTube's completely ignoring older channels. Maybe they're just promoting newer channels or whatever, which is fair enough, I suppose. I mean, I'm not jealous or anything. I know we care, but I just thought it's strange. Someone that's only got 100 subs somehow gets about 1,500 views on their video, and it wasn't obvious clickbaiting. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, YouTube is YouTube. Do we give a shit? You shouldn't do, and I don't. But anyway, it's more important things to think about, isn't there, guys, at the end of the day, isn't there? Anyway, take care all. I do digress a bit. Take care all. Bye.